Okay, what's up YouTube? We back. I know it's been quite a while since my last video. I had forgot about y'all. Had a daughter and I work a full-time job. So between those two, they've been keeping my hands tied. I got two kids now and two dogs. So they've been keeping me young. So we're gonna get right into it. We got the Samsung S21 Ultra right here. I just wanted to do a quick overview of what I like and don't like about it, and if give you a quick decision on, if you should get it or not, just to try to help you decide if you're interested in getting it or not. I was actually using the Google Pixel 5 at the time that I picked this up, and I was in Best Buy, saw it, and the first thing that caught my eye was this camera bump. I had watched the videos, of course, YouTube videos of everybody unboxing it. The first thing that caught my eye was this camera bump and how they blended it in with the frame so well. So if you saw the S20 Ultra, I had that one, but I didn't like the camera bump at all. And that's not the reason I returned it, but that did play into my decision some. But this camera bump is a lot more sleek. The previous one looked, it had 100 times face zoom printed on a camera, and it just looked real sloppy. This one looks a lot more purposeful, like they actually put some thought into how they want this to look, and I actually think they nailed this look. It could have turned the other way. I mean, they could have done this and everybody could say, they hate it, but the overall consensus that I've heard so far is that everyone, for the most part, likes this. I actually like it a lot. And plus this color caught my eye. So I'll go over, I guess, first the things that I don't like, and then the things that I do like, and then we'll wrap it up. So the things I don't like first would be the price. And that's kind of one of the things I like too, but we're getting that later. But the price, this is $1,200, which is not a cheap phone. Yes, you can find a phone that does what you need it to do, and some of what this can do too for far less than that. So $1,200 is a lot to spend on a phone. You don't have to spend that much on a phone these days to get a good phone. That Google Pixel 5 that I had was marked at like $600 or $700, I think, which was a great phone. I think that one should have been a little lower, but you don't need to spend that much on a phone these days, which goes to my next point, is not including a charger with the phone, especially on one that you're paying this price for. You're paying $1,200 for this, so to take the charge out is not a good move. Not a good move. I didn't like it at all, especially the Ultra. I mean, especially if you're gonna spend. I could maybe get it if you had at least on the regular S21 and S21 Plus, if you gave them an option on the website to, yes, I want to include the charger, or no, I don't want to include the charger. And on the Ultra, you definitely get the charger. You don't have to ask, you just get the charger. Especially since this is the biggest one, the most expensive one. And those of you who may have a charger from a Samsung phone from maybe a year or two ago, it's not going to work with the cable that they give you, because they give you a USB-C to USB-C cable, which if you use a S20 or S10, S9, whatever, if you're using one of those, it's not going to work with this, because you have a USB-A to plug adapter, wall adapter, so it's not going to work. So I feel and then they had the nerves to clown Apple for doing it, saying, we didn't leave anything out the box this time when they came out with I think it was a Note 20 Ultra, whichever one. But they had the nerve to clown Apple about it, but then turn around and do it too. I'm not going to spend too much time on talking about that, because I know you've heard everybody talking about it already. The next thing I would say is Samsung overload. So if you have used a Samsung phone before, you know what I'm talking about. But in case you don't, this phone comes with tons of extra stuff that I just don't really want on here. Like the Samsung member, Samsung Health, you have Google Calendar and Samsung Calendar, Google Messages and Samsung Messages, which if you get buy this in some regions, it actually comes with Google Messages pre-installed and you don't have Samsung Messages. But for some reason in the US, you have Samsung Messages too, and you have to go to the Play Store and then download Google Messages. So I never did like the overload of extra Samsung stuff that they put on top of Google stuff. I actually prefer most of Google stock applications. And along with, just thought about it, just looking at this, Google Photos, and you have the Samsung Gallery, which I don't use. I back up all my stuff in Google Photos. So just having that double of everything is something that I don't like. Now, my last thing I don't like, it's not a long list, is the no micro SD slot. I personally haven't used one in a while, so it's not a big deal for me, but I don't like them taken out because Samsung is one of the last companies, I think, that was actually still including the micro SD card slot. So even though this only comes with, this particular model only has 128 gigabytes of storage, but if you had a micro SD card, you could expand that to like a terabyte or two. So for those who don't use cloud storage like Google Photos or OneDrive or whatever, you could save all your photos on a micro SD card or whatever you're putting on there, movies or whatever. You could move all that stuff to your SD card slot and it not take up too much space on your phone. So the things that I do like, number one, I already talked about it at the beginning of the video, is the design, which I kind of think they nailed. I did have the S21 Ultra, as I mentioned before. I wasn't happy with that design. The glossy backs, I never liked even though I'm just going to turn around and put a case on it anyways, I never did like the glossy backs on the phone because they're fingerprint magnets. For the few times that you want to take it out and actually enjoy it, as you can see, this isn't, I've been using this without the case for a little bit today, while shooting the video too. You can see it hasn't picked up any fingerprints. I do know sometimes, particularly with me, that my hands are maybe greasy or oily or whatever. So you don't pick up fingerprints, but you may see like little grease spots or whatever you want to call it, if you hold it at the right angle. So the next thing I would say is the camera design, which I already talked about, is how it blends in with the frame. If the camera is actually catching this, is how the camera bump is blending in with the frame. Previously, it was just like a bump on the back of the phone. So it was a pretty thick one too. This is still a thick bump too, but the way they blended in with the frame makes it looks a lot more sleek. It looks more, I don't want to say professional, but it looks like they put thought into it. The previous generation just looked like, we got to find somewhere to put these cameras. Let's just throw them right there and just put 100 times, which I don't know whose decision that was to print that on the back of the phone, but I hope they're not working with Samsung anymore. That was a poor decision. I didn't like that. Another thing I like is the 100 times, even though a lot of people may call it a gimmick, is the 100 times space zoom, which they added 2 optical lenses. I can't think of the exact specs. One maybe 3 times and 10. But you get a lot clearer between 5 times and 30 times zoom, which 30 times, if you zoom up to 30 times, that's generally where you start seeing some loss in quality. But being able to zoom up to 100 times, some people may call it a gimmick because you may say, well, how often are you actually going to use that? Probably never. Probably only once when I'm sitting on my pool deck and I see a plane, passing over. I may want to try to see if I can actually get a close enough shot that actually looks worth keeping, and that may be worth it for me. So actually being able to zoom in 100 times and better, you get better. This one is a little better quality than last year's camera. On this one, on the selfie camera, you can actually choose between natural quality or bright, which is Usually Samsung's default with camera quality, it seems, is bright, punchy, contrasty photo pictures. With this one, you can actually choose between natural or bright appearance settings. So selfie color tone, you can choose natural or bright. So yeah, and you have tons of camera features in here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but one that I did think was neat here is director's view, which if you see here, you can see between all of the other three lenses back there. You can see the ultra wide, the normal lenses, and the normal lens and a zoomed in one, and you can also shoot with the selfie camera. You can record and it'll record both, and you can, get this up and see which one you like better. I like that. And they have slow-mo and super slow-mo. I've been playing around with all of them, which is my next thing I like is the overload of features that they give you. When I buy an Apple phone, I almost feel like I'm just buying the brand and into the ecosystem. With this phone, when you buy this phone, I mean, there's so many features on here. You probably may never use all of them, but on the chance that you want to use some of them, they're there. And it actually makes this, I can't actually co-sign with any phone that costs $1,000. But if you're gonna pay $1,000 for a phone, a Samsung is the one I would personally go for. But generally, because of the overload of features that they give you, sometimes it is too much sometimes, and you kind of have to know your way around disabling some of this stuff and getting around some of it. But when you do know how to get around it, it's worth it. Which I'll go into. The next thing that I like is this one. It may give you less battery life than other settings, but you get to use this one 120 hertz at WQHD, which may not be that good on the battery, but you do have the option, which wasn't available on the last model. You couldn't use WQHD and 120 hertz. It was one or the other. So far, I've been using it today, and it hasn't done too much damage to my battery. If you do see that it's draining too much of your battery and you're not getting as much battery life as you want, you can always go back and turn that off. Just go to full HD plus, which you will get good battery life with this one, with this setting too. But you can always go back and turn it off if you want to. Which is the next thing I like is the battery life. It's not as good as my Pixel 5. My Pixel 5, I was using one day up to like noon, and it was still on 100%, which was crazy. But this isn't bad. I don't want to say like this is bad battery life. It's still great battery life, and you can't compare it to something like that. I mean, the specs on that one aren't as pumped up as this one. This is the Ultra, so I mean. And you do have a larger battery in this one. It's a 5,000 milliamp battery, so you get great battery life with this one if that's important to you. The last thing I will say that I like is the price. That's one thing that I don't like. It's $1,200, but if you buy this from Samsung or Best Buy or a carrier, I probably wouldn't buy it from a carrier actually. I would buy it straight from Samsung or Best Buy, but you get way better deals from Samsung's website if you buy this directly from them. Right now it was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was $700. You could get it for $700 off. Which I only paid $550 for this, so the price is something that I do like is that they give you great deals on trade-ins if you trade me in a phone on buying this phone. So if you don't like the $1,200 price and you have a phone that you want to trade in, you can trade it in, and you're only paying $500 for an S21 Ultra, which is a great deal for me. To me, it's a great deal. So that just about wraps this one up. I think this is a great phone actually. I would go as far as say it's going to be the phone of 2021. I don't see many phones beating this one. OnePlus 9 Pro may get close, but we'll see. We got a lot of other stuff coming out. Do stay tuned though. We got a video coming up soon, maybe next week, I'm building my own gaming PC, which is actually sitting right here next to me. The last piece comes in tomorrow, so I'll get that all set up and I'll do a video on that. We'll talk about that. So if you're interested, please like this one, subscribe, stay tuned for more videos. I'll try to come out with them at least more often than I did. I know I took a break for quite a while, but we'll keep them coming out. Do stay tuned for the gaming PC video coming up soon though. Thanks for watching. See you next time.